Hey, Lee Wolf here. Welcome to Game Face Monday. As always, I'm sitting with Mr. Richie Bello. How you doing, Richie?
Hi, how are you, Lee? Thanks for coming in.
Good, good. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Fran Taylor, who is known as the King of Prospecting. He is an unbelievable auto sales trainer, and he's also an author. And he's got decades of experience, and I'm looking forward to hearing about all of it. How you doing, Fran?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for being here. And yep, just before we get rolling with the show today, we're going to hear quickly from our sponsor. So we all know it's commonplace in the auto industry that customers will come and then they go. But why? Was it a better price? Did they go with a different make? Is it a sales training issue? Maybe it's a marketing problem. And if you knew why, could you take back a portion of that business? First things first, you need data. And Shop Smart Autos for Dealers has your solution, the VIN Retention Report. Our VIN Retention Report can give you the inside scoop on VINs you held onto and the VINs you lost. But that's not all. What if you could know where the customers and your VINs ended up? For example, if Mrs. Smith purchased a vehicle from you 2 years ago and traded that vehicle in a mile away for the same make but a newer model, why didn't she come back to you? Now with that data, you can reach out. You can target her with a service deal that brings her back into your dealership and gives her the stellar experience she's looking for, while potentially flipping her back to your sales floor for a deal she never knew she could get. That's just one way our VIN Retention Report can help. So take 15 minutes with us today, and we'll show you how the power of data can increase your ROI with the Shop Smart Autos for Dealers VIN Retention Report. Set up your appointment today. So that was a quick video on our VIN Retention Report from Shop Smart Autos, the number 4 dealers.com. If you are a marketing agency dealing with dealerships, or you are a dealership, I highly doubt you want to go without this unbelievable piece of technology. If you want to know where your VINs, what VINs you held on to, what VINs you lost, that's a wonderful piece of information right there. But knowing where your VINs ended up and what strategies that you should be using to target those people and get them back to your dealership, I've never seen anything like it before. So again, Shop Smart Autos, the number 4 dealers.com. So Mr. Taylor, before we get digging deep into our topic today, why don't you give the audience a little background on yourself?
Okay. Well, I lucked out one day. I was sitting at a diner complaining about how terrible life was because I was sleeping under a porch. And this old guy said, "Hey, kid, I'll show you how to make some money." So I went and listened to him. I got hired in the number 1 volume Toyota store out of 106 dealers. We had 25 guys on the floor, and I was number 1 from the very first month on. And
Wow.
I was taught to go get my own customers because I couldn't compete with 25 guys on the floor. And then about 3 years later, Joe Girard called me and asked me what I was doing, how I was selling 50 cars a month. So I told him some of the prospecting tools I was using. And he said, "Oh, you ought to get into training. You can travel the world and they pay for it." I didn't think nothing of it. So I told my general manager, some guy, Joe Girard, called me. I said, "Get into training." He said, "He didn't call you." I said, "Yeah, he did. Who's he?" He said, "You don't know who he is?" And I didn't. And about 2 weeks later, I got a real nice letter with his picture on it. And I was more humble then. And about 6 months later, I got into sales training. Since then, when I first started out, I got thrown out of more dealerships than anybody ever met because nobody knew me. but that's all part of it. I'm in Pennsylvania, and that time I was married, I said to my wife, "I'm not coming back until I get 3 sales." My third stop was Wichita Falls, Texas, and I ended up becoming his GM. And he had 13 locations. So from traveling decades around the country, if you stay a little humble, you'd be surprised if some of these old boys show you. And some of this stuff that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about used cars, is so simple. And when I started there, we were doing a little over 200. When I left, we were over 300, and that was in 6 months.
Wow.
I worked with Sutliff Chevrolet years ago. They hired me, and all he wanted to do was work on certified used cars. They weren't even in the top 100. 20 months later, they were advertising they were #1 in the United States.
Wow.
And all I did was teach what I learned. I mean, I don't have to come up with everything. And what a great guy. But the difference there, Glenn Martin, I don't know where he's at now. He said, we're not doing any of this stuff. We're doing it now. We are going to start. And I think that's what makes a difference about somebody doing it. You got to believe in it and work at it until you get it. So, this October will be 42 years of me traveling and learning from the best. So I look forward to keep meeting people better than me so I can teach some of the stuff they taught me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's always good to meet people better than you to learn and pull from them, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, all right. So we just came out of, not just, but we're still dealing with and feeling the effects of COVID. And it seems to me, from what I've learned over the last couple of years, that being a salesman, if you were lucky enough to still have a job and a position inside of a dealership, I actually had to leave my dealership at the time. Being a salesman during COVID was kind of an easy job because there was no inventory. People were kicking in the doors. You lost 80, 90% of your staff. Now COVID ends. We've got tons of inventory. And we've got a whole new staff to deal with a whole new mindset. So that's where I'm going to let the two of you run loose, because I know training is a major issue here.
Well, let me just take you back to history of COVID. Not only were there no cars, the cars that the customers came in on a trade-in were going up appreciation. So it was very easy for you to show a value to the car that they bought a year ago, and now it's worth $3,000 or $4,000 more. Right. So that's the first thing, right? That happened. Then the second thing, there was no inventory. So you're giving them $3,000 more. They're buying the car for more money. So it's very easy to generate gross. It was fake. It was like an illusion.
Yeah.
Now the illusion is over. We're back to normal, some sort of. I'm looking at the data now. The average age units is over 200 on a lot of stores across the country. It's terrible. So the wholesale has been going downward. Boom, it hit the normal number. So now training is a big part. Again, it wasn't before. So let me just say this. When you just have laydowns and laydowns and laydowns, you're not polishing your skills. What you're getting is rusty, right? Now that customer comes in from ads, they're running dealerships of 40, 50,000 in budgets, running ads and ads and ads left and right. Now that customer that comes in the showroom, now you got to actually work that customer. So now this is where the training thing comes. Deals, you got to start going to workshops. You got to start going here because you're hitting diminishing returns already. I already know that deals are hitting diminishing returns on advertising. Why do you hit diminishing returns? Because you get 100 leads in the door and you sell 2 cars if you're lucky. And then 1 is a cancellation. So now you're hitting diminishing returns. So I'm going to let now Mr. Taylor talk about how we can help dealers minimize that diminishing returns, increase their retention, right? And have your salespeople focused. Let's understand something. Everybody uses this term, go back to basics, but a lot of them don't know. A lot of these trainers that say that started the training business not too long ago, don't understand something. How do you go back to basic? You increase the learning curve of a salesperson. The enthusiasm goes very high. When you walk into a dealership as a rookie, as a green pea, you blow up. Why? Because your learning curve is very high and your enthusiasm is high. Now you're green, you grow. Okay. A lot of these guys that say, go back to basic. Okay. Show me how to take a salesman back to basic. And they go, hubba, hubba, hubba. Okay. It's a metrics. Okay. That's all it is a metrics. Increase the learning curve. That increases the enthusiasm. When you're enthusiastic, you want to jump out of bed at 3 a.m. and go to a dealership. Okay, guys? So let's stop using the term unless you know what you're talking about. First of all, go back to basic. Who doesn't know that? All right. Jackie B. Cooper started that. All right. Let's go back to basic. No kidding. But how do you do that? How do you get a guy back to basic? With gentlemen like Fran Taylor. Increase the learning curve. With that being said, your enthusiasm level goes up. It's the B12 for salespeople. Mr. Taylor, I'm going to let you engage with that.
All right. We talked earlier. Do you want me to focus on used cars? How to get them from?
Yeah. Okay. How do we get these dealerships to flip their used car department?
Okay. There's a little bit of work involved here. And I did the exact same thing when I was the manager of 13 dealerships in Texas. I gave him a commitment to be there 6 months. To me, it was easy, but there's a little bit of work involved. Instead of telling the dealer, like they're famous for it at the end of the year, that other people say, take them to the auction, take your loss, and hey, let's write it off and we'll start over. That does not and never will fix the problem. So you got to start looking at 45 days. When that car hits 45 days old, you got to go find a home for it. I don't care if you retail it. I don't care if you wholesale it. I don't care if you have to take it back to the auction. When it hits 60 days, it's gone. Why? Well, number one, you get closer to loan value. When you're closer to loan value, you're going to make a lot more money. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do that. Now, you got to take it easy on your used car managers, you GMs and owners, because when you take a car to the auction, you know you're going to lose $300, $400, $500. So put your guns away. In the long run, you're going to make more money. Now, there's several ways I have here that you can slow it down, that you retail the car instead of losing money. I'll give you an example. I always had bonus cards. I'd have my managers look, okay, what's this car going to bring at the auction? We take it next week, $7,000. Okay, so and say we got 72 in it. So I tell them, okay, anything over $7,200, 50% commission. So you got to fire the salespeople up. I'd rather make $400 or $500 selling an old age unit than take it to the auction and lose $1,000 or whatever. Okay, and there's some other things we did to help protect ourselves. Like we had a little slush fund. Every car that we traded in that we were going to keep, we added $200 to the car. You know, if we trade something in for $7,000, we'd inventory it at $7,200. So we had a little bit of money when we went to the auction. We didn't lose money, or very little at all. And you're going to lose money. I lost $3,800 for the dealership on an Elkhart, Indiana conversion van. I called around. I tried to get prices on it. I couldn't do it, but anyway, we're all going to lose money, but I hope nobody beats that record. But that's okay. I get it. You know, if you don't lose money now and then, you're not going after enough. And that's probably one of the first things we did. If we had to put more money in a trade to make a deal, I always had a buyer. I'd call them up. Hey, give me a buy figure on this car. What are you willing to pay? And of course, that's a relationship you got to have with the buyers, because if you explain something, it better be 100% what you say, or that'll go away real quick. The other thing is we had a row about 10, 15 cars, the old age units. Now, it takes about 90 days, 120 days to get down to a 45-day level, but I didn't want to lose money on it. So we had a little row there. It's called the Sunday Shopper, and we trained the salespeople to do this. Okay. And so, look, here's cars we have. We keep them. We turn them every 60 days. There's nothing wrong with the car. You know, we'd rather wholesale it to you than take it to the auction and lose it.
Let me answer that a minute. I have something to say. So the sale is made on the buy, not the sale. So I have a Honda Accord, and I'm losing 3,000. What could I replace that vehicle for? Okay, that's what a dealer's got to look at. The replacement. I go to Manheim, I blow it out. What could I get that same vehicle? Could I get it for 3,000 cheaper, or could I get it for 5,000 cheaper? That's what dealers got to look at, because the money in this business is made on the buy. It's never made on the sale. Okay, so dealers, could you dump 100,000 in your inventory and pick up 300,000 in gross? I would do that all day, and dealers out there would do that all day. The money is made, and as you know, Fran, on the buy, right? It's been like that in this business since used cars existed, right? That's where the money's made. So you got to look at, you're going to lose money, but what can you replace that vehicle, put it in your front line, and now what could you sell it for? Okay. When I used to appraise cars, right, I didn't look at any book or nothing. You know what I look at? What can I sell this at the front line? What can I sell this at the front line right now? Oh, I can sell it for 20,000. What do I got to buy it for? Okay, so let's say 15,000. I can sell it for 5. That's 15. Now let me back out reconditioning. Boom, boom, boom. Another 1,500. I never looked at that. And my flip was 65, 70 days. I never looked at a book. Book's just a guideline. Throw that book out the window. Okay? You're in the retail sector. You are not a wholesaler. To answer the question about step up on cars, you have to look at what you can sell the vehicle for. What can I retail this car for today? Okay? And within 30 days, what am I going to lose on it? Depreciation. How much depreciation? What percentage? Right? So that's the car business one-on-one. Okay? Today, these used car managers look at this, look at that. They're eating their lunch because they bump into a dealership that has a Richie behind the desk or a Fran Taylor, and guess what? I'm taking the deal away from you. And I'm retailing that car and making 4 or 5 grand. And I'm flipping my inventory. And my inventory is so clean that when a competitor comes into my store and only has $1,000, I'm okay with the LTV. They go to you and you have $1,000 and you can't get it done unless they come up with 3,500. I'm making money at 1,000. Okay. So all these metrics take place, and I'll leave you in the dust all day, every day. Okay? That's the thing. This is used car sales one-on-one. Real common sense, real easy to do. Not hard to figure it out, guys. Okay? Why is the data coming in of 200 and something days? Why? It's crazy. I know a store in this market, okay, that they're so buried that they want to refinance the building to get enough money, a franchise store, to blow cars out, because I've been working with them a while and they're tired of it. They're tired of it, and I show them this. Listen, gone. Whether you lose money, win or draw, replace the vehicle. The beautiful thing about the car business is you can replace that car like that at a cheaper number, because we have a commodity that depreciates every day. It's depreciating. This is not COVID. They were up appreciating. You couldn't replace it. Not anymore. Welcome to the car business, okay? It's the way it is.
So, question from a training perspective, Fran, how do you feel about the large push for online training versus in-person training? Because when talking to Rich
Uh-oh. You there? He froze.
Well, I think I know what he's talking about, but why not do both? I mean, do both. I mean, do online training, get to master that, and but nothing beats face to face. I don't care where you're at. It's sort of like you were saying when you do a workshop. I mean, I hear dealers all the time spend all kind of money on stuff to watch a video, and the guys fall asleep. But you got it right there when you say, Richie, about getting the guys there. They get to ask questions. They get to talk to you. They see the excitement in your voice. I mean, to be honest with the salespeople, managers, they want to know, who are you? Why should we listen to you? And what's in it for me?
Right.
So if you show them what's going on, there's a good chance they're willing to do it. And then the key thing is no different than selling a car. You got to do a follow-up to make sure they're doing it. It's not a training. It's a coaching job once someone hires you. And then you got to get in and help them.
And Richie,
let's talk about the online, why the online came in. You had live training in a dealership. The online thing came up for this reason: consistent education, right? The same thing that a college has, that you have to go to the school, get continuous education. Why? Because it monitors the salesperson to see if he's following what you trained him. And Mr. Dealer looks at these analytics. Lee Wolf has gone on 30 times. He's passed all the tests out. Okay, so now let me get Fran Taylor to come in and train Lee Wolf, Richie, train 4 or 5 guys that are using the platform. And let me find out if his training's really good. Let me find out if, because of his training, Lee is actually on his game, and then they realize it is. That's why the e-learning originally came out with, and it was Lightspeed. Brad Lee did a really good job with analytics. So it's a monitoring platform for your salespeople, for the dealer to see what's going on and see what, because after a trainer leaves, after 5 days, they go right back to their bad habits. Done. You cannot change behavior in 5 days. You actually can't change behavior in 30 days. Behavior takes a while to change, and they have to have discipline. So that's why the online training is good. It's a combination of going there, telling them so they start using it. A dealer can now sign up with Fran, put 30 people on. Chances are those 30 salespeople not doing it. So you have to put a schedule for your training people, your salespeople, and put a schedule together so they at least use it, not a lot, 20 minutes a day. You take 20 minutes a day times 25 working days. Now you got something. Now this training really works, because once you train somebody and you leave, out of sight, out of mind, they go right back to the bad habit. But consistently, continuing education, now that's a big difference. The training business, like Fran Taylor knows it, and like I know it, it's live and living well, okay? But there's a process with it. You can walk into a place, no matter what you're training, you can walk into a place, train them, doesn't matter. When you leave, 24 hours, they go back to their bad habits because they say, this is not working. So they start taking shortcuts. And you know what happens with shortcuts? Shortcuts equal short deals.
I agree with you about the online training. I mean, why not do both? But cherry pick where you get your advice from. I mean, people think advice doesn't cost you anything. It does if you get bad advice. So guys like you that have a proven track record, I mean, those are the kind of people I look for. You know, you can take an idiot and motivate him. Oh, you got a motivated idiot. So you got to find somebody with the knowledge to give to you that you can trust. And then, like you said, Richard, you got to follow up. When they watch those videos you have and stuff like that, the only thing I would add to that is say, I want you to write down a paragraph what you learn and what you're going to do.
Right.
So now you got, and then share it with the whole sales force. Give everybody something different. And see, that's where the excitement comes in, because you got to do the work first. Eventually, the results will trickle in. But after a while, if you stick with it, I don't care where you're at or what product you sell, it just takes off.
Listen, ASTN, Automotive Satellite Television. I had it in a few stores that I worked in. All right. This is before online training, before a lot of these trainers were around. You know, these were old school trainers. You know what we used to do? We used to put the salesperson there. They had to pass the test. We used to tell them to write stuff down in the sales meeting. The sales meeting on Saturdays, we took 10 or 15 minutes and went over leads. So tell me, and I'll tell you, stand up and train your sales department. Tell me what you've learned. And I would do that every week and each one individual. Why? Because when you learn something and I put you as a trainer, your retention in your brain is going to get higher. They don't do any of that. These dealers have this online training. They hire trainers. They don't do any of that. You have to do that because now you're making them stronger, right? Stronger. If I teach you what I learned, right, I'm going to grow. But not only am I going to grow, you're going to grow. So we're both going to grow together, right? So now that's important. They don't do that today. Everybody's too busy. This is why when you walk into a showroom, the closing ratio is not 30%. They wish. That's a wish, okay? I hang out purposely in showrooms, okay? Because I have a lot of friends that run dealerships. I hang out purposely. I watch them come and go, come and go. And you also wish that people are following up like they say they are. Okay. When I see a company like Helms Technology take your customers and get them back in the door using SMS and email, I know that the salesman is not following up.
Right.
Absolutely not. There's no follow-up today. Why? Because the technology, the salespeople don't want to follow up. You know how you know you got a good salesperson? When you put them in front of customers. Salespeople don't have right brain. They have right brain they don't have left brain. The BDC people are the ones that do it, right? And all the customers got to deal with the salesman. Forget it. They won't come, right? It's not that way. The right brain guys are put me in front of somebody. The left brain is more detailed and more follow-up skills. A good salesperson doesn't follow up. A real good salesperson just sells people when he meets them. Bang, bang, bang. That being said, to put those opportunities in front of a salesperson. It was back in the day, phone rooms, right? Mr. Stuker started this phone room thing, right? They used to rotate salespeople in these rooms. It failed. It failed. You know why it failed? Because salespeople are not phone people. They're just not. You know, like I don't sell from a video, from Zoom, all that bullshit. I jump in the car, right, Lee, and I go knock door to door, right? That's what it does. I can't sell anything on a Zoom, okay? Because I don't like to be there and the people not sure. I go crazy. I go door to door. That's how I sell. Well, whatever I'm selling. I could be selling digital marketing. I could be selling SEO. I could be selling PPC. It doesn't matter what I'm selling. I can't do it. I can't do a video thing. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I go to your establishment. Trust me, you're getting sold. There's a big difference there. Well, the same thing with salespeople with the phones. It doesn't happen. So that being said, we have a little bit of a problem there. BDC comes in, and that's good. And now BDC is another thing. The BDC departments are really spinning because Third-party leads are not converting. So now, when a third-party lead, they got to follow up. They already put in their mind, this is not working. There's another lead from cars.com. It's not happening. So a lot of these virtual BDC companies don't even want those leads, right? So everybody's focusing on DMS marketing because you're a BDC person. You go through 50 leads, third party, that 10 stores already called them by the time you call them. Guess what they're telling you? No, we changed our mind. No this, no that. That's it. So now your mindset gets all messed up. Does anybody know sales has to do all with mindset? 100%. If your head's messed up, if my head gets messed up, I go home and something happens. Is that my head's messed up? I can't sell if my life depended on it. Somebody puts a gun in my head and says, go sell them. Good luck. I can't sell. I'd rather go like this, go and sleep it off. Somebody tells me something at the house, I'm done. I can't sell. My head's a wreck. Good luck trying to put it back together. I need like at least 2 days smoking about 5 cigars and just thinking, okay, analyzing stuff. I can't sell, and that's a salesman, right? That's what a salesman is. And I don't forget anything. I just don't forget. And I go revisit the same negativity. So my team and all those people try to stay away from me a little bit with that stuff because you can mess up a salesman's head in 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. Bang, you see something, just something happen, and I'm finished. Good luck. You can put a lay down in front of me. He's selling me instead of me selling him. That's what's happening. So there's a lot of things in sales that people gotta know, dealers gotta know. I mean, motivation is one thing. Your salesperson, that's why changing pay plans and that is not good because when you change pay plans at the beginning of the month, that salesman's off track for 10 days. Off track. And if you do in the middle of the month the same way, you have to give them a 60-day window so they think about it. And the real truth, how I used to change pay plans, I used to have one-on-one with salespeople. And I used to do a presentation. You just don't write a piece of paper, your pay plans change. You got problems. It's all about presenting it and selling. Again, we're selling to the salesperson one-on-one why we had to change it to be a better benefit for him. Because in the long run, he's going to make more money. The dealership's going to give him more bonuses on Saturdays, okay? And he's going to have more time off to enjoy his life with his family. So now there's a presentation behind it, right? So the dealers change pay plans. They just change it at the beginning of the month. Oh, really? Then you wonder why Lee Wolf didn't do anything for you for the first 14 days. And he used to sell 25 cars, and now he's only got 7 out. Hello? Mm-hmm. I mean, really, it's about presenting it the right way to your staff, not just changing it.
You can always tell if somebody's ready to learn. All you got to do is ask them a question, whether it's an owner, a GM, a manager, or a salesperson. Tell me something you're doing different to make more money than the guy down the street. If they can't answer that question, they're a prime candidate to learn, to do some training. And it's pretty easy, to be honest with you. And then they got to be willing to do it. And there's where you got to show them. You just can't tell them. Right. But to me, I have a ball. I mean, every year I meet some really incredible people. And, my life's getting better and better and better. And it should be. I just really love helping people. But you got to find the right one that's willing to do it all. When you look further ahead in life, whether it's a dealership or as a person, the better you are, because now you got to have a plan. If you don't know what it takes to make you happy, how are you going to be happy? If you don't know what it takes to sell an extra 100 cars a month, how are you going to do it? The worst thing I hear is when I talk to some of these guys and they say, well, we're just a small dealer in a small town. I tell them with that kind of thinking, you're always going to be a small dealer in a small town. So, right. So some of them just need a bear hug and say, what do you think of this? Next thing you know, you get to help them out. And that's what really makes it worthwhile for me anyway.
I went to a dealership 3 weeks ago that one of my friends runs. Right? It's a Chrysler store. There's a customer there that says, I'm not buying today. You know what the salesman did when he said that? I'm going to give you my price. Put a business card out and gave him a price. Let me ask you this. Customer tells you, Richie, I'm not buying today. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Customer. I agree with you. Buying an automobile is a very big decision. I definitely agree with you. Could you give me 2 reasons why you wouldn't take this car home today? Not buy the car. No, take this car home today. 2 reasons. Agree and overcome. What happened to that? What happened to that? This customer leaves with a business card with the price. Really? How is that? How is that? You mean to tell me he bypassed the why? How you gonna? The only way you're gonna deal with a no is by saying, "Why is that?" Right? So customer says no. The salesman says, I'm going to give you my best price on a card. The guy didn't even ask for the price. The guy probably will never go back there again because, first of all, me as a client, this guy's not even listening to me. I didn't even talk about the price. No, but to that salesman, the price is everything is important. That's what's out there. Dealers get this workshop going. By the way, me and friend are going to make an announcement at the Beach Club, a workshop. It's going to be a real game changer, and you're going to increase your business. You're going to blow up, and you're going to get more enthusiasm in the showroom with a higher learning curve, and then you're going to want to hire Fran Taylor in your dealership because he is that good. I have the reports of the VIN retention. Right here, I'm going to say this. Any dealer that signs up with the workshop, complimentary, free VIN retention. So you know where your customers are going and who you're losing to. And it's a marketing perspective. If ABC Motors is hammering you, right, hammer him back in the digital platforms, right? And we can help you with those digital platforms for you to target those customers. Why are you losing to your competitors? And if you look at we also have this, if you look at your competitors, his average day is lower than yours. Why is that? Why is that? What is he doing that you can't? Here's what it is, Mr. Dealer. When your competitor is doing something you're not or you can't, you're on track to close the doors. Pay attention of this workshop, Mr. Taylor. Richie Bello, Mr. Taylor's got a few speakers lined up, and we'll be talking more about it in the future. Definitely.
Well, sounds exciting. Richie, was there anything you wanted to mention about Data Taking the Wheel, your book?
Oh, yeah. So I have this book coming out. It's, by the way, it got submitted last night, and Amazon already came back. It'll be live by Thursday. The gross profit to that book is going for the Veterans Suicide nonprofit that they have. I believe it's registered in Washington. Okay. We did a lot of research. Lee Wolf did a lot of research, a few other guys and a few other ladies to find out the best source. So we found this nonprofit, very credible in Washington, D.C., and that's what we're doing. So this book is going to be really good for the veterans. I am pleased that this happened, and I'm pleased that we're going to donate every dollar from the gross profits, and again, not gross sales, gross profit, to the suicide for the veterans. Because
Awesome.
It's crazy what they're doing.
Awesome. And Fran, one final question. If my better half likes Disney World and I like Universal Studios, how do I sell her on Universal Studios?
Say, follow me.
All right.
So follow me, honey. I got something you'll love.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try it. I thank you, Mr. Fran Taylor, for being here today. And Richie, as always, thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Lee. And Fran, thank you. I really appreciate you so much, more than you know. And Richie Bello loves Fran Taylor. Always did, always will.
Yeah.
Thank
If
you,
you
sir.
guys want to learn anything more about me, just go to frantaylor.net. That's my website. Or if any of you guys want to chat, contact Richie or me. We'll be happy to help you in any way we can. Thank you for allowing me to come on the show.
Thank you, Fran. Bye-bye.